We're doing passage 1 from 65D. The passage looks like this: the hunt for morel mushrooms. So number 1, which of the following alternatives to the underlined portion would be least acceptable? So under the underlined portion, basically I spend every free moment in search of them. So this person is spending every free moment searching for their mushrooms. So all of my free time, that would work. Appropriate vacation time. Vacation time is not every free moment, it's just vacation time. So which would be least acceptable? Choice B. Okay, for number 3, we know it's a comma question because what we see are the words don't change, but we see lots of commas in the question. So let's just break down this question. I'm not talking about imaginary creatures, but about deliciously real morel mushrooms. We have this dash. If we notice, we don't have a dash anywhere in the beginning before the dash. So what this dash is doing is it's taking out everything after it. It's the remove rule. So we can ignore everything that comes after the dash. So now let's just break down all the commas that we have. Let's look at choice G first. We have this comma after imaginary creatures. If we use that, it's going to be the move rule or the remove rule. Can we take out everything that comes before the word imaginary? If we did that, we would start by reading imaginary creatures, but about deliciously real morel mushrooms. That doesn't make sense, right? So we cannot remove this, we cannot move it. So G is definitely out. Let's look at choice H. We have this comma around about and this comma around creatures. So if we did choice H, it would be taking out imaginary creatures. And so can we read it like that? So let's take out imaginary creatures. I'm not talking about, but about. No, that tells us what we're talking about. So choice H is wrong. And then choice J, we're taking out the word but. I'm not talking about imaginary creatures, about delicious. No, we need that. It's just comparing two things. So choice J is out. So our answer has to be F. We just don't need any punctuation at all. And we really see this if we look at the word about. The word about is it's going to be a modifying phrase here. So it's tell us what we're talking about, right? So choice F is the correct answer. Number 3, given all the choices are true, which one most specifically describes the appearance of morel mushrooms for readers who have never seen one? So we're looking for really the most specific. So funny looking, textured, edible. That's not really specifically describing it. Funny looking is very vague, so probably A is out. Earthy, well, that's a little more. Oddly amusing, interesting looking, still vague. Odorless, that's not really a description of the appearance, that's smell, so we're going to say C's out. Sand colored, cone shaped, sponge like, those are all part of appearance and very specific. It is sand colored, we know a specific color, cone shaped, and sponge like, the appearance, the texture. So your answer has to be D for this one. These are usually pretty easy if you just look for what it's telling you to describe. Number 4. Now, usually I would say that the answer, if I'm just glancing, I would usually say the answer to this question would be a morel hunter because it's the most specific. Anytime you're usually comparing a pronoun to something more specific, if you're guessing, I would say G. In this case, it's not. This is an agreement problem. So we see in this sentence, once you find your, so you and your will be you, right? We're agreeing with what comes in the sentence. H. Once you find your morel, maybe a dead elm or in an old apple orchard, you will be even more determined. So it's all about you. So H. Tricky one a little bit if you were trying to go quick. Most relevant and specific information. That's what we're looking for. So relevant and specific. So which one's most specific? So reputable, detailed field guides about wild mushrooms, in between trips to and from the woods to gain expertise, very carefully on the topic. So I'm going to say it's probably going to be A. Let's look at the rest of the sentence just to be sure. Like many morel hunters, I learned from an expert. She invited me along firsthand to see how it's done. I learned even more by reading. So what are you reading? You're reading field guides about wild mushrooms. So that is the most specific about what you are reading. So your answer has to be A. That's a crucial part of the preparation to get ready for morel hunting because often the same woods yield morels produce poisonous mushrooms too. Okay, so I can tell for sure that this is already a redundancy question because preparation and to get ready for it, that's the same thing. So we're looking for redundancy. Preparation to make oneself fit, that's the same thing as well. Preparation of someone planning to be ready, well, that's just a lot of information and not needed. So really what you just need is to get rid of to get ready for already because it's already said in preparation. So preparation, let's make sure it reads correctly. That's a crucial part of the preparation for morel hunting. You don't need that phrase in the middle, so your answer has to be J. Just delete the underlined portion because everything else is redundant. Which of the following statements, if added here, would provide the most effective transition from paragraph 3 to paragraph 4? Let's change the colors there. Okay, so we'll do paragraph 3 in blue. So paragraph 3, this is paragraph 3, so right here. So what is that one about? This is the one where they're reading, they're preparing, they're learning. So we're going to say it's about prep and knowledge. How do you prepare? How do you know? Now we're going to look at paragraph 4, which is here, is labeled paragraph 4. So what is paragraph 4 about? There's a contest where someone can go. I'm going to enter. So this is about actually participating or using your knowledge. So we'll call it participation. So now that we know that it's preparation and knowledge, we can see which one combines them. There are many field guides to choose from. Well, that might work with just the paragraph 3, but not paragraph 4. I love the texture. No, that has nothing to do with it. Outdoor activities offer so many rewards. Well, say it's a maybe. I want to put my knowledge to work. That's definitely going to be it. Knowledge, and you're putting it to work, so you're preparing and you're knowing. So choice D has to be correct, 100%. This one is an example also. Let's pause for a minute here and think about all the types of questions that ACT has. So I said choice C was one I didn't immediately mark out because they are participating, right? And it can be about rewards that they offer. But every question has a correct answer, D correct. But it also has one distractor. So the distractor is one that is almost correct. And that's what this one is. Choice C is kind of almost correct, is leaning towards participating in outdoor activities. And if you're moving too quickly, you might choose C. So just know that's how ACT works. Two answers that are generally obviously wrong or pretty close to wrong. One answer that is very enticing. So for question number 8, this is a punctuation question because what do we see changing in this question? Well, we see morels, comma, this, morels, no, comma. We have a period, because. So we know it's a punctuation question. And I am first going to check choice H because it has this period in choice H. And that's comma rule number 1. So comma rule number 1, remember, is complete idea and complete idea are joined by complete idea punctuations. What can join complete idea punctuations? Well, period, exclamation point, question mark. Remember, ACT seldom does those. Semicolon, comma, fanboys. And notice that because is not a fanboy, so that would be an incomplete idea if we do this one. So it could be complete, incomplete, which actually, no, that one, I was going to say the choice, this might be the same, but it's not. So we're going to check choice H first. Oh, another is complete. Could also remember have complete idea. What follows colon or dash. What comes before colon or dash has to be complete. What comes after it could be complete or incomplete. So colon or dash also work for complete, but it has that little caveat. It could be incomplete as well. So example I always use for that is the team encountered something it did not expect. Team encountered something it did not expect. Complete idea. Colon. Well, what did they not expect? Rattlesnakes, right? That would be scary, right? Rattlesnakes. Or what did they not expect? There were rattlesnakes on the field. Okay, so that's how colons or dashes work in that sense. Dashes are more complicated too because they can take the place of commas and remove questions. So what's the comma intro for all that? I got distracted there for a minute. All right, so let's go back and check choice G for, nope, not choice G, choice H first, because we have this period. So is what comes before the period a complete idea? Every spring there's a contest where I live in northern Minnesota to see who can find the most interesting morels. That is a complete idea. So I'm just going to label CI above it. Now let's see if the second part is complete. This year I'm going to enter. That's a complete idea also. So I know complete idea, complete idea. Choice H, I don't even have to check the other answers because I know that one's correct. Okay, there's two ways to answer this question. Let's go first with a punctuation idea. Comma rule number one. Complete idea, complete idea. Let's say you're just moving quickly and you want to do complete idea, complete idea. We're going to check choice B first because of period here. Last year, one participant found over 3,000 morels. Great, that's a complete idea. So we'll put CI above that. He's my hero. Well, that's a complete idea. So complete idea, great, choice B. Other way you can look at this, or maybe let's go why the others are definitely wrong. It's also a clarity question because they found over 3,000 morels, becoming my hero. Your brain makes sense of this and you realize the little mushrooms are not the heroes, right? So whatever the mushrooms are, they're not the heroes of the person, right? But that's technically what this says. Here's an example I frequently use, and if you watch the pronoun intro, you'll see this. Tim saw a deer on his way to work. Well, your brain makes sense of this, and you picture Tim driving to work and he saw a deer. But what really could be happening is the deer in his suit and tie is on his way to work. So it's an incorrect sentence. Tim saw a deer while Tim was driving to work. That's clarity. So this is a clarity issue. The morels aren't becoming your heroes. The participant is your hero. So he is my hero. So another way to look at that one is just as a clarity problem. So punctuation problem or clarity problem, two ways to go about solving this one. This question is definitely a comma question because all we see is the commas changing. We don't see anything else changing. The words don't change. So we know it's just a comma question. So we can use our comma rules and figure it out. So let's go with choice F first. We have this comma after spots. Keeping silent about your favorite spots. So if we were to go with rule number 4, our move rule, right? Move or remove. Can we pick that up and move it? Is part of the mystique of the glorious pastime keeping silence about your favorite spots. We cannot move that to the end. And we can't remove what comes after it, right? So rule number 3 is the remove rule, comma, remove. In this case, would be comma, remove, period. This is extra information. Keeping silent about your favorite spots is an incomplete thought. So we know we don't need that comma there. So F is definitely out. And really, we can eliminate choice G for the same reason, because we can't take out what came before it. We can't take out what comes after it. So G is out. Now, keeping silent, can we remove about your favorite spots? Let's change colors there. Instead of making it blue, let's make it a different color so I don't get confused. Let's make it orange. Keeping silent about your favorite spots. So can we take out about your favorite spots? Keeping silent is part of the mystique of this glorious pastime. Well, just silent in general? No. About your favorite spots describes the type of silence. So remember, this is serving as a modifier. And so telling the types of silence. So H cannot, it reduces the clarity. So your correct answer has to be J. Just no punctuation at all. You don't need any commas to separate the subject from the verb, which is what this comma does really. Keeping silent is, so this part is the subject, this part is the verb. You don't separate subjects and verbs with commas. So your answer is J. Just working through your comma rules. Pretty easy question actually, but I wanted to make sure I explained them all. So J. Most specific information. Which one provides the most specific? Two things in particular. Two things. Well, that's not specific. Demonstrating two skills. What two skills? Patience and concentration. Well, there's your two skills. Your answer has to be C. So in this question, we have a modifier and a word choice question. ACT likes to use then and then. So then is time, right? Chronology. I'm going to eat, then I'm going to study. You do one thing, it does another thing. Than is comparing. So I like tacos better than I like salad. Okay, so in this one, smaller and paler than the average pine cone. So we're comparing the average pine cone to the morel. So we can get rid of the thens. If nothing else, you've got it down to 50-50 chance. So then is it going to be smaller and paler or smaller and pale? Well, now it's an agreement question. So smaller and paler than, THAN. Choice H has to be your correct answer. So this is a word choice pronoun question. So choice D, let's look at what each of these means. There is like a location. Look over there is telling someone where to look. THEIR is plural possessive. So more than one owns it. It used to be, by the way, ACT's changed this a little bit. They used to make you choose between his and her and there. And if you're looking at any older tests, sometimes you might find that there's always plural and his or her is always singular. Style books now generally accept there as a gender neutral singular possessive pronouns. They don't test that anymore, but you'll still see it on the test as in its plural. So, but in this one, a morel blends. So morel is singular for sure, right? And so, and it's not a human, so it's not his or her or there. So an IT apostrophe S is it is. It's is the possessive, right? So, and the other way you can always be sure that if you have possession is change this. Can you say the surroundings of it? And if you can, then it is going to need possession, right? Blends perfectly into the surroundings of it. Yes, that works. You need possession. So A, you could have also said blends perfectly into it is natural surroundings. Well, that doesn't make sense. So A has to be your correct answer in this one. So this one's about transitions. A morel blends perfectly into its natural surroundings. We just read that. However, you can look right at one and not see it. Well, that doesn't make sense because however changes directions, right? So you're saying, I like tacos. However, we are having salad for dinner. One thing, but not the other thing. So however changes direction. So now we know F can't be correct because it blends perfectly. You cannot see it. That's the same thing, right? You're going the same direction. I love tacos. We're having for them for dinner. So F is out. A little hint is to always check the shortest answer first, by the way. A morel blends perfectly. You can look right at one and not see it. That would definitely work. So we're going to say G works. On the other hand, would be one thing. Again, it's changing directions. I like tacos. On the other hand, salad can be pretty good, right? It's still changing directions. Back and forth, that's probably never going to be a choice. It's too informal. So your answer is G. Okay, let's check question number 15 first, because back to our rule number 1, complete ideas are joined by certain punctuations, a period being one of them. Morels fool everyone, even the experts. Well, that's a complete idea. So good there. That is probably why the saying goes. That is probably why the saying goes that the best place to look for morels is directly behind you. That is also a complete idea. So your answer has to be B. Complete idea, punctuation question.